Hey, what's up everyone? Danny and Alex. In this video, I'm going to talk about some types of grips that we use for no-gi jiu-jitsu. It's also applicable for regular gi style jiu-jitsu or even mixed martial arts, self-defense. But there's so many different types of grips. Today, we're just going to talk about the two basic ones. Basically, the ones that are most frequently asked in my classes is, should I use the thumb or no thumb like this? And we're going to talk about just that. All right, so I think the first thing we should talk about is, should we use the thumb around the wrist or just the thumb over the wrist like this, okay? So basically, the reason why we're gonna use gripping in a no-gi situation is to make contact with our opponent. I wanna initiate attack, or I don't want him to run away. I wanna actually initiate something where I have a connection so I can set up my attacks, such as takedowns or even submission holds. So let's take a look here. One of the first things I'm going to do is usually grab onto the wrist like this. So if you notice now, I'm using the thumb around the wrist, not over the wrist. So using what I like to refer as the C-clamp grip, just gripping like this. Sometimes we'll go 2-on-1. So we're going to C-clamp here and the other one over like this, right? This is one of the situations where I would want to use the thumb around like this. Now, if I compare this to latching on to the neck now or the head, I can't use the thumb like this, right? This is not going to work. So I'm going to use 5 fingers around like this. I'm going to hook around the neck like this. So this is usually referred to as the monkey grip. So now we can start to understand when we can start to differentiate how we're going to use the gripping. So for example, grabbing the neck with my thumb like this is going to be kind of like useless because I'm not going to have any control. So if I want to grab here, this is going to be a preferred gripping. But now if I start attacking or gripping on a smaller limb, such as the wrist, for example, this one makes more sense, right? But there are also other times, for example, that I want to use the monkey grip, such as maybe he's coming to latch onto my neck and I'm going to stop it. Or maybe in a self-defense situation where he throws a haymaker punch and I'm going to frame and use 5 fingers or the monkey grip around his limb, okay? So even on the ground, we're going to use the differentiations of both grips. Another thing too is sometimes I might use to push forward, backwards, up, down, left or right, using this type of wrestling grip, double inside control like this, all right? Sometimes I have the collar, he also has the collar control here, and I do the same, and I have what we call collar tie position here. So notice here is 5 fingers around the neck, but notice here the finger, or the thumb I should say, is latching on as a C-clamp, okay? I don't want to be just grabbing like this. I would want to do this from the inside to break this grip. Sometimes I'll have 2 connections on the biceps and control like this with using my head as well. So if we go to the ground, for example, let's go to close guard position. If I'm in the guard position, or even in a half guard, just for demonstrations purposes, and I'm going to start to attack, let's say, a kimura, and his hand is posted on the mat, I personally prefer to grab using the thumb around the wrist at first, and then as I start to attack, then I'll switch to the monkey grip, all right? So when I start, I'll start with a human grip, pull myself up, and then from here, switch, once I have control of his arm, into the regular monkey grip. And this, I find personally that if I'm pushing, I'm having more power using the palm, just like a bench press. But if I'm trying to pull somebody like this, I find with this type of grip, it's going to be easier. Okay, so it's not that one's better than the other. It's really a question of understanding when and how you should be applying the thumb or no thumbs for controlling. But in essence, once you start to play with this, you'll understand that you might even connect one and go for the other. So notice if I'm going to do an arm drag from here, now I have the thumb around the wrist, and this one is the monkey grip underneath his elbow. One more main thing to understand is when I do control, I always want to control my hand, if I'm using the thumb, at the smallest extremity of his limb. So mainly it's going to be the ankle, sometimes it's going to be the wrist, or the top of his head, or behind the neck, all right? So if his arms are extended in front of me, I don't want to just use the C-clamp on the forearm, especially if the guy is the same size as me or even bigger. I'm not going to have any grip like this. So if Alex tries to grab me on the bicep or even on the forearm using the C-clamp, he's not gonna have much of a control. Do it on this side. See, there's a lot of space for me to just take my arm out of there. But if he does the same thing now, but more at the extremity of my limb, which is where the wrist and the thumb attachment right here, right at the end of it, and he grabs here, now he almost circles around the limb, and it makes it tougher for me to kind of like free my arm out of there. So once we understand these concepts, it's really important for your game to understand which types of grip. So this gives me an idea for a future video where we might even go further and start to explain to you guys all the different types of grips we have in Jiu-Jitsu. But for now, I think this is a good start. Basic gripping techniques for you to apply. All right, so there you have it, guys. 2 simple types of gripping to control your opponent, standing or on the ground. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Until next time.
We'll see you guys in the next video.
Take care.